What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. A lot going on in Alberta. A lot happening with Alberta independence and a lot with the distractions. The title of this video reigns true that they're trying to take Alberta. Those on the left, the mob, the distraction group, they're all coming for Alberta. They don't want Albertans getting mobilized. They certainly don't want Albertans saying enough is enough. They've had enough of Canadians pushing back. And you can tell that with what we have today. I'm going to show you some of those distractions and tell you why we're actually still winning this fight. As you can see, Gil McGowan. Now, this guy whines about literally everything online. You can see them bringing up right now that Danielle Smith has come out to change Alberta's license plates. I think there's far more better things to complain about right now, like, you know, the cost of food, the fact that fuel should be coming down more than it has. You know, people's living expenses are through the roof. Inflation's high, crime's high. Now let's talk about license plates. He says Danielle Smith is literally going to put the UCP's official party slogan on Alberta license plate. This is the kind of thing Trump would do. I love that they insert that to try and come off it. Oh, it's Donald Trump. Oh, Trump's just a terrible man. We don't like Donald very much. He's a terrible president. I'm kidding. I love Donald. This is what the left say. They don't like me very much. It's the kind of thing Trump would do, and it's a big red flag. Blurring the lines between the province and party is not acceptable in a healthy democracy. So what Danielle is doing is she's getting rid of the Alberta Wild Rose Country on license plates. I've never liked that on the license plates. Wild Rose Country. It's kind of like when I moved to Spruce Grove, it was kind of the thing that whenever you drive into Edmonton, it used to say City of Champions after Wayne Gretzky, and Mark Messier, and many others. Now it just says Alberta's capital city. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Somebody should come up with a better slogan. Wild Rose Country can go because Danielle wants to put strong and free on the license plates, which, if we get our independence, folks, God, is that even going to reign even better? I got no issues with it. But you've got Gil here sending out his left-hard army to come out. The UCP will be unveiling today new Alberta license plates emblazoned with the UCP party slogan. I have a message for our premier. Danielle, your authoritarianism is showing. Blurring the lines between party and province is a very Trumpian thing to do. Terrible word, by the way. Big red flag. They're actually mad that she's changing. Like, I shouldn't even say they're actually mad. These are bots. These are guys that just come out to distract. Oh, it's all about license plates.
So Danielle Smith wants to introduce new license plates in Alberta. That would be annoying by itself because it's probably millions of dollars that could be spent to help settle the teachers' strike.
So I'm going to pause it right there, and I know the audio is really weird and janky, but the Alberta teachers' strike is being used as a political pull. This is what they're doing. This is what the left is doing, is that they're putting everything that Danielle does. Oh, it's all about the Alberta teacher strike. This could be used for the Alberta teacher strike. We should be focusing on the teachers and the Alberta teacher strike. F the teachers. Their senior staff were offered $114,000 a year, and they turned it down. Why? Because it's a political distraction. It has nothing to do with students. It has nothing to do with overcrowded classrooms. It has everything to do with politics. Everything. I'm going to get into that more. We have that. Stick around. The video has that. I'm trying to break this all down as best I can so you guys aren't sitting here all day long. I know people don't like listening to my voice all day. They don't like it. You can see this post coming out. Pitter patter. Proper patriots. Put pen to petition pronto. Here's Forever Canada. Tommy the Commie's petition, which Danielle acknowledged is supposedly a constitutional question. Do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? I got good news for you folks. They're posting online that allegedly they have 252,000 signatures as of 20 minutes ago, and this was posted 15 hours prior to filming this video. 300,000 needed plus 10%. Again, that's to account for anybody who was signing this petition that shouldn't have been. To account for ineligible voters whose names may be on the petition. So they want about roughly 330,000 signatures by the end of the month. So in 2 weeks. They're hoping to get another 80,000 signatures in 2 weeks. If this goes through, ladies and gentlemen, if Danielle Smith puts it on a ballot, all people have to, this takes the work away from APP. All you have to do is vote no. And the premier has a clear mandate at that point. These guys are scared. They're all scared. They're all pushing for Nenshi. They're all pushing for Danielle to be voted out so that the left can override the province. What's really funny is that we've pulled up statistics in other videos that during the UCP's reign in the province, when Rachel Notley, the sheriff of Nottingham, was premier of the province, not a single dime was given to teachers. So every time I hear these NDPers saying, oh, they favor the teachers, they fund schools, they do all these things, they gave nothing to teachers throughout their entire tenure in the province. We offered them 14%, and they turned it down because it's about politics. Speaking about politics, this DK Gray, the same person who posted that other thing about the signatures, he put out this video. I replied to this guy, and I said, I'll tell you what, keep politics out of it, because you can see where this is driven again to try and wedge Alberta. This is, hey, everybody on the left, get in here and let's destroy Danielle Smith. He's making the whole thing about Danielle Smith, not about Alberta independence, not about the fact that you're going to save your tax dollars. We're not going to be sending billions over to the east anymore. No more transfer payments, no more emissions cap. Nothing to discuss with that. Nothing about our economy. It's all about Danielle Smith. I've told this gentleman, give me one reason, one valid, decent argument that Alberta should remain in Canada that has nothing to do with a political party, and I will sign your petition to remain in Canada. I have yet to get a reply. Listen to this video, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about what is actually happening with Tommy the Commie's petition.
Hey, Alberta friends and neighbors. If you haven't already, you should go sign Thomas Lukaszik's Forever Canadian petition. And the reason is, it is absolutely the best possible way to punk Danielle Smith. If the petition is successful, and it by all accounts should be, but it needs to get over the line, the consequences for Danielle Smith are that either she has to accept the wording of the petition that Alberta will always remain in Confederation, or hold a referendum, which she's undoubtedly going to lose. Either way, it ties up this whole separatist nonsense for between 5 and 6 years, long past when she's going to be in power. And right now, it's just going to tick her and all the slimy, rotten little buggers that are trying to stir up trouble in this province along with her. So
to combat what he's saying about the slimy, rotten buggers of this province that are talking about packing up and leaving, what you've seen here is him admitting that the whole reason to sign this petition is to hold up the process. So he's sitting here saying we have enough signatures. Oh, we should have enough signatures. It should go through. We should be able to stay in Canada. But we really just need to get Danielle. We have to punk Danielle Smith. We have to get her out and delay the process for 5 to 6 years so that she's no longer here, so that she loses her job. And this vote can never go through. What that tells you right there, folks, is this DK Gray is scared shitless that we have the numbers. He knows that if Alberta Prosperity gets their numbers, which, by the way, these signatures would have been gathered by Alberta Prosperity 10 times over already. They've already got more numbers than what these guys have. More Albertans want to leave. And he knows it. Those that are struggling to get signatures for this petition, 300,000 signatures is not hard to get in a province the size of Alberta, if you have the support of the people. This guy knows that if we get the vote Alberta will leave. This is all a political stunt to punk Danielle Smith. It has nothing to do with Alberta staying here, which is why I issued the offer. Give me a reason aside from politics to stay. I'll sign your petition. I'll sign it. And I'll say that Canada should remain within Alberta. You've got this tweet coming up here. Sounds like a little bit of hate speech there. Interesting when y'all do it. It's a virtue. This guy said, and he comes back, if your aim is to break up the country, you're getting more than speech. It's nobody has a valid reason. When you talk about the tax dollars that are saved, when you talk about the transfer payments, when you talk about Alberta's ability to actually get to work, and people always push forward, oh, you're landlocked. You can't leave. We're already landlocked. We're already stuck. We've been that way for the last 10 plus years. Where it is going is political. And you can see that if you head over to Naheed Nenshit's Twitter feed. Parents aren't blaming teachers. They're blaming Danielle Smith. We've talked about this one already. Look at the next one. We're live. Tune in now for parent-teacher interviews with Naheed Nenshi, Amanda Chapman, and parents, teachers, and students from across the province. Oh, look at this one. Teachers are still on strike. Parents are struggling. Kids are caught up in the middle because of you. Because you're using children. Look at these two. Don't they just look like the right people to be around your kids? They're using your children as a tool to boost their political posture. Amanda's kids go to school. That's 41% over capacity. You gave them nothing the last time you were in power. Nothing. Down here, Danielle Smith provoked this strike. No, you did. You and the unions. You were offered $114,000 a year, and you turned it down. The highest wage for teachers, I believe, in the country based on cost of living. More than they get in British Columbia, according to Danielle Smith. And we know what it's like to live in, Vancouver, Victoria. You've got the UCP or the APP, thank God, coming out in full force to show you why this is all theater. Here's the reality. When governments shuffle money around from one group to another, it's usually a lose-lose situation. In a self-sufficient Alberta, there's a good vibe about keeping over $28 billion that usually heads to Ottawa with hopes that it can be redirected towards better wages, more classrooms, and all that good stuff. Right now, the fallout from the teacher strike is hitting Albertans in more ways than just bumping up teacher pay and boosting classroom help. The immediate fallout is a dip in productivity. Parents are feeling the pressure, and a bunch of businesses are rushing to sort out staffing shortages as parents are caught in a tough spot. This is what APP had to say about what's going on.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and I should be at work, but I can't because my children are not in school. The Canadian education system is broken. Teachers are underpaid, students are under-supported, and classrooms are full. But imagine if billions of dollars stayed here in Alberta. A sovereign Alberta would mean fair pay, smaller classes, and no more strikes.
If you don't send those billions of dollars out to the federal government anymore, if you're not sending all those transfer payments, guess what, folks? You can pay more, you can build more, you can hire more. People would be flowing here to have a teaching job, to have smaller classrooms and good pay, to have the resources it needs. Why? The province could afford it, even in its current state, while we're landlocked. Keep in mind that if Alberta leaves, Canada still needs our oil and gas. America would want to instantly partner with Alberta. We are not landlocked. In fact, we're getting the best deal of our lifetime. You really want to know what the teachers are doing? Take a look at this that Cian Bexty posted on Twitter that I've got here, that I've got my bookmark. He didn't send it to me. Jeez, I can't believe I said that. Take a look at this one.
I will do anything to make sure your children succeed, unless I am not directly compensated for it. Raising the next generation of children. Province is full of dumb, white, uneducated rednecks. I hate them. And their kids. Semester 2, ways white people are evil even more. One of the most religious provinces in the country. Tell the parents you hate God. Your son wants to learn math? I don't know math. No, we will not be teaching Shakespeare. Shakespeare is racist. We will be reading Clarissa Pinkola Estes, The Women Who Run with Wolves. Your 14-year-old son will love it. Flood the country with millions of Indian immigrants. What are you, racist? More immigrants, more. Hey, some of these kids don't speak English. This is untenable. It's affecting us now. I have plenty of real-world experience. I went from high school to university and then a teaching job. You work 21 days on in the oil patch? That's nothing, sweetie. Do you know what I got asked the other day at work? If I would coach volleyball. What? You don't support us? You don't support us? Why not? Why?
So it's a great video because it really shows you why guys like myself and other parents that I've spoken to in my area don't really back what the teachers are doing. It's not that we don't back the teachers, we don't back what the unions are pushing. There's a lot of teachers that don't want to be out there on their lines right now. In fact, they don't even have a strike fund to be out there. So they're not even getting paid for this. This is all a political push. They're using our teachers, our students, our children as shields to bolster their political numbers. And the amount of dummies that are falling for it around the province is staggering. Now, when we talk about independence, I know there's a lot of video clips in here. I know the video's waning on, folks. I don't mind making these longer videos when we have a lot to talk about. This is the last clip I have for you. But it definitely poses the biggest question of all when people say, well, you can't leave. This land belongs to the indigenous. It's indigenous land. You can't take the oil with you. You can't have a free and sovereign. These are people who are screaming because they're mad that independence is closer than they think it is. They're trying to grasp at straws to find any reason at all to say that you're an ist or an ism for wanting to leave, that you can't. And when they hear the real numbers and the support that it's getting, their first reaction is fight or flight. They'll give you every reason in the world. You're landlocked. Now the oil's stuck here. It belongs to the indigenous. Wrong, says Rise of Alberta. This breaks it down perfectly why the talking point is nonsense. Now, I will give this video one thing. The Stewie voices and Brian Griffin are pretty well, but they're Peter Griffin. Oh God, it's terrible. It's a really terrible Peter. Let's go through. Maybe Fringe should have done the Peter in this one, but let's play it through, because for anybody who wants to say, oh no, it belongs to, show them this. Show them this. We've cited this before under Keith Wilson. Here's the reality, folks.
All the resources that Alberta boasts about belong to First Nations. Alberta is treaty land. You can never separate from Canada.
You don't even know what the implications of the treaties are, do you? First of all, the provincial government has full ownership of natural resources as enshrined in Section 92A of the Constitution. 97% of Alberta is under provincial crown land, meaning it solely belongs to the province, full stop. Only about 3% of it, which consists of national parks, military bases, and reserves, belongs to the federal government.
What? Don't First Nations have full ownership of reserves?
They actually don't. Most people don't even know what the treaty agreements actually entail. When Alberta First Nations signed Treaties 6, 7, and 8, they completely ceded all rights, titles, and privileges of the land to the federal government in exchange for receiving government support in small pockets of land designated for their residents, those being reserves, which are still owned by the federal government as per the Indian Act.
But I thought that First Nations signed agreements that ensured their sovereignty, and that these agreements were totally not one-sided.
Your naivety is baffling. Do you really think that the Dominion gave two shits about the well-being of First Nations? Treaties are bound under the Indian Act, for crying out loud. The title alone should tell you how outdated the act is. And remember, First Nations do not have a veto over Alberta sovereignty. Once there is a successful referendum on Alberta sovereignty, the Alberta provincial government, as well as the feds and First Nations, are obligated to enter negotiations over treaty obligations, and the aforementioned 3% of land that belongs to the federal government. First Nations can either choose to keep the same treaty obligations, which would have to be met by the Canadian federal government or the Alberta government, or they can sign new beneficial agreements with the government of Alberta, agreements that aren't completely one-sided and meant to keep First Nations relegated from broader society. Alberta sovereignty is an opportunity for First Nations, not a threat.
Is Peter right? Or is he right? Make sure to follow and let me know in the comments.
Now that video really lays it down. It really lays it down as to anybody who wants to argue. What happens if Alberta votes to leave? I hope that clarifies it. Because a lot of people, well, what about these agreements? What about this? What about... There it is in a nutshell for you. Read the treaties. They're not that long, folks. They're not that long. If you stand with Alberta sovereignty, if you stand with independence, if you don't like what's going on, folks, just want to remind everybody, Alberta Prosperity is calling between 10 to 50,000 Albertans that are going to the I Am Alberta rally. Again, we started the hashtag on this channel. I'm so happy to see them adopt that. October 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Alberta Legislature. It says, stand against federal overreach and gun laws. Let's claim our sovereignty. You can RSVP over at bit.ly/IamAlberta. They've got a great poster for it. Again, I'll leave this here in case anybody wants to RSVP. Just scan this QR code on your screen. You can RSVP that way as well. And keep in mind, for anybody else who's attending that audience or that rally, our independence shirts, our I Am Alberta shirts are still available on the store. No profits are being kept by myself. Again, everything is going to supporting our veterans. So pick them up now. I want to see a sea of these at the rally. I want to see you guys there on October 25th. And in closing, again, I know it's a long video, folks. I will say that I hope to see you tonight on this week's Unhinged Fringe, Friday Night Fringe. Leave me a comment or a shout below what you think. But in closing, I will leave you every reason in the world why Alberta needs to leave and where we stand as a province. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you on the next one. Being Albertan means standing tall on the backbone of our land. Endless prairies, Rocky Mountain majesty, and the unbreakable spirit of rugged individuals who tame the wild and fuel the world with black gold. We're not just survivors, we're builders, dreamers who turn frozen winters into fortunes and vast skies into opportunities. It means honoring the heartbeat of freedom, low taxes that reward hard work, resource rights that respect our sovereignty, and a fierce independence that says no to Ottawa's overreach. We ride for our families, our farms, our rigs, not for distant elites dictating our destiny. I won't live under Mark Carney's shadow, his endless scandals of conflicts at Brookfield, where he profited from green policies he pushed on us, or that wild plagiarism flap on his big Oxford thesis that screamed shortcuts over integrity. A man born in the fort but long ago lost to Davos boardrooms, chasing WEF agendas over Western values. His authoritarian streak chills me to the core, calling the Freedom Convoy an insurrection, demanding donors be hunted and punished like enemies of the state, all while crushing dissent and state control instead of real dialogue. That's not leadership. That's lockdown loyalty. Pushing truckers and workers who just wanted to breathe free. Alberta rejects that boot on our necks. Why bend the knee to his biased Brexit fear-mongering or art sale whispers with inside journos? We've got enough homegrown heroes without important ethical fog from globalist games that sideline our oil, hike our costs, and sell out our sovereignty to foreign whims. Alberta's call is clear. We're the engine of Canada, not its doormat. Time to roar back against the scandals, the overreach, are true, because true patriotism isn't blind obedience. It's bold defiance for what's right. I'm out there every day and I live it. I am Alberta.